Okay. So hey everyone, just let us know if you can hear us or not. And if you can, say we are excited.
We are excited.
We are excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the chat. Yeah. क्यों? Okay, so everything is right, I guess. We can start.
Let's start.
So I hope you guys are building projects a lot better. And this is a stream where you can ask judges any questions that you have related to projects, related to hackathon, even related to your career, anything you can ask. So first, what I'll do, I'll introduce to judges. The first is Pranay. He is the Android tech lead at Airbnb, and he has done a lot of sessions too, and have experience of judging multiple hackathons. And second is Shriram. He's also an Android tech lead at Airbnb. The same experience he has. Also judges many hackathons and sessions. And third judge is Tushar. He is
Hello, guys.
a senior software manager at Proximity Works. He has around, I guess, 20 plus experience. No, am I wrong or
Yes,
not?
almost
Yeah,
20 years. Yes.
yeah. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Like I got some queries. Okay, network issue. Let me see. Am I audible, right? Properly.
Your video
Yes.
is not.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, but your video is stuck.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe the Wi-Fi is not with me right now. That's why. You understand.
Cool, cool. But we can
Few
hear you,
questions
so we
that
can.
people asked. What is the most basic question that every participant asks? Anyone wanna take this question?
I think you got cut off between like the question. So we heard only participants and question, not the actual question.
Who was that?
I think you can keep your video off for now. Try now for the
Okay.
question.
Okay. So the question was, what are some key aspects that make a project stand out from rest?
I can just share my thoughts and then if other folks. I think for me, the key is a working prototype, right? Like showing the project in action because it's very hard for people to understand the words that you write, the presentation. It's more about, hey, this is the project. Look at the demo. How cool this is. Voice over the demo. Don't play a song. It's not a Instagram video or a YouTube short, right? Like voice over. Say that what you are doing, what this project is doing, and present it like as that. That has a lot of impact for me personally. Seeing a project in action, even if it is deployed on your local machine, that doesn't matter, right? Like the deployment is not something that we are looking for, but a working prototype. Because if we just read and going through the code, all that is fine, but looking something in action is has a stronger impact.
Yes, I think
Makes sense.
I agree with Pranay. And what I am looking for is I will check out the GitHub repo and it should work on my local machine too. Because like most of the time video are misleading. Okay, you can like video are mostly happy flow only. So when it is working in your system, then you get actual idea of what is the product and how it is working and what uh, faults are there. So yeah, what I'm looking for is like working version, which can like I can copy repo and check locally. Okay, so if you have environment variables, please do share it with us in comments and all so that we can check local version. Yes, Ram, you want to say
Yeah,
something?
thank you. Yeah, I'll agree. I agree to what Pranay and Tushar was saying. I just want to add on one point on that is like when you are basically submitting a project or working on a project, make sure you articulate what the problem is and then clearly explain how you're solving that problem, and if there's like a similar problem, how you're different. I think that makes it a little it'll help us so understanding like what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that would be, I would say, a better answer everyone has given. Yeah. Like one question, like mostly beginner has, like, what advice would you give to the someone who's participating in their first hackathon? Like FOMO, they have FOMOs, right? Whether they can complete the project on time or not, whether they have a chance to winning or not.
I think it's a good question. I think don't focus on winning, right? Focus on like having good time. Even if whether it's your first hackathon or 10th hackathon, uh, focus on like completion. Have some state in mind that you think that you want to get to, and use all the tools that you have, right? Like you don't have to code everything on your own. Use every tool that is available, use help from your friends, so that like you get to a place where you are comfortable in sharing your project. And do submit even if it is not ready. Do submit in time with whatever, make it such that okay, like you put like certain dates or certain stops in your mind, that okay, till that time if this doesn't happen, you move on to something that has already been done, complete whatever you have done so far and finish and polish it and submit that. Don't try to do 100 different things and then just get discouraged if it is not happening in time.
I can add one or two points. Basically, like just enjoy yourself. I think it's not a rat race. You want to experience and understand how folks are doing. Just focus on yourself and give your best. If you can, do well, do well. Otherwise, you still have something that you have learned at the end of the day. I'm sure after these 3 days, you'll be better off than what you are today. That's something to keep in mind.
Yes, and I think I want to add that treat this as journey. Tomorrow, like submission is not your destination. Okay, so you think something, build something, and build on top of that. Like this is your if this is your first hackathon, like stick to that idea. Uh, Check it for validation. What feedback you are getting here, what feedback your friends or like family, everyone is sharing with you. Then next hackathon try it again and like it will be more polished version. So if you stick to one idea, after some iteration it will be a very good idea. Maybe like as a student you start with this as a project, and at the end of year you will like come up with some small company or startup from it. Okay, so treat this as a journey, not as a destination.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's actually right. That's what hackathons are. To build products that can change everything in a matter of second, in a matter of days, I would say. So the next question would be, like, have you like, what is the most creative project that you have judged? If you have judged any hackathons or sessions, like which project you find most interesting? Like, it has a potential to become a product or something like that. Anything you can share?
So I think I can start. Okay, so daily, like we are seeing something which is mind blowing. Like when since the day like AI boom started, every day we are seeing something which is like incredible or which we haven't thought about it. Like in 5 year ago or 5 year ago, it wasn't even possible. Okay, so even yesterday, my team was working and we found something which is just taking PDF as input. And from that PDF, it is generating like a talk. Okay, two people are discussing that topic and discussing from that PDF. Like it is like a podcast. So it is generating like podcast out of PDF with really good voice, like high quality audio. You can think it like a studio setup and the two people are discussing something. Okay, I think Illuminate or something was named, but every day we are seeing something incredible. So yeah, AI has no limits, and now with help of UI everyone can do anything. So yeah, daily we are seeing something new.
Okay, so we have a question from Uday. What key factors do you prioritize when evaluating hackathon projects?
I think we kind of touched upon this question. I think the unanimously a summary is a good working prototype, even if it is from your own machine, GitHub repo, articulating what the problem is, like how you're solving it. We at least as for me, I'm not looking really clean code. That is something that I'm not looking at this stage because you want to have to solve the problem, and that is far more important. I'll give more weightage to that.
Yeah, totally. And like Tushar also covered, right? Like videos could be misleading, so put as much instructions as you can in your GitHub place or share it anonymously with like your judges on the chats, on socials. That way, like people know how to run the projects. They can test it out and see. Uh,
Okay, so the next question is what that's one thing which will make the team stand out. The most asked question by from the team to win.
uh, Stand out. Try to do something. Don't build a wrapper over ChatGPT that does the same thing that ChatGPT does. We have seen some projects in past where like, hey, this is ChatGPT for like it's an AI for talking for about medical problem, but like what it is, it's still just ChatGPT wrapper, probably a little bit trained data on ChatGPT. Do it something that is like yeah, AI chat could be part of your overall project. There is no harm in that, or think out of the box. Unless you have asked about a project like that you think could be possible. So one of the stuff that I would like to share is I saw one project where they were using the Gemini Vision API to use for accessibility. So for people, help people who are visually who has challenges in seeing clearly or like not able to see or any kind of challenges that they face. So using your phone camera, you put it in your pocket, and it's very similar to this AI human hardware thing that was launched, but this was done by students, right? So your phone is looking at your surrounding and using the vision APIs to tell you something. So if you look at that, right, like it's a great application of AI. It's a very simple use case from outside, but it requires a lot of interesting stuff to build, and you are using all the emerging technologies that is there. So focus on your use case and like just don't do a wrapper over chat gpt. Like I don't think that will cut in this competition.
Yes, I
Uh,
think build something it is hard to find X factor. Okay, so build something which you can sell. Okay, and sell it you are selling something, and someone is ready to pay like 1,000 rupees a month for that. Okay, this could be a criteria if you have some idea in mind. Okay, and then you can validate it by this. Okay, so that if you can sell this to someone, at least five people are willing to pay 1,000 rupee a month or even 100 rupee a month, then it is a good idea. So build something which is very useful to someone, not just uh, for this hackathon.
okay, so next question is, what advice do you have for a team looking to quickly adapt to and implement emerging technologies?
That's a tricky question, honestly. Um, I adapting to emerging technologies in the hackathon. I don't know if it's you have a limited time frame. So maybe I would advise if I were part of a team, I would stick to what I know, at least to solve the core of the problem. And then, like for example, like Pranay was saying, right? If I don't know much about AI, how to use AI, I won't make it like consuming AI as part of my core of the problem. I'll solve core of the problem. I'll add in additional features using AI, like a touch up, etc. That's what I would be doing.
Also, to add to that, like look at other open source code, other people's project. Ask for help with the people who are doing hackathons with you, other teams. I don't like Sriram said in past. It's not a rat race, right? We are all in this together. Ask for help. Hey, like, does anyone know how to use this tool or like this technology? How to do this? Ask your organizers. They might be very well versed with some of the interesting things. I know Anas has been building his startup as well, so he has a lot of good experience as well. So ask around, never be shy in asking help. We are not like no one is gonna say that, oh, this team they have been asking about everything. It's not like a college paper or anything, right? Like it's real world. So ask for help, do whatever you can to get that technology integrated if you want to, and yeah, uh, have fun with it. Also learn about how to do it so that you can help someone else in future.
Yes, Tushar, do you have any more point to add on, or we can continue?
Yeah, so just like what Pranay and Sriram has mentioned, don't just use technology because it is there or you want to use that. It should be part of that project. It should be something which you can use in your project, and it could be, it must be organically usable there. Okay, so as a first rule of ML says, you don't need to apply ML to every project. It is like first rule of applying ML. So yeah, use what is required.
Okay, so one more question is that what common mistakes do participants make in their technical execution that could easily be avoided?
I Go
Go ahead.
ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll do it.
I I really liked what Tushar has said in past, right? Like, if you can sell this to someone even for let's say 10 rupees a month, that should how you like think about it. So, like, if you go with that mindset in the project, then you can focus on things that make sense, right? Like, there are certain things that might be taking too much time for you to implement, and the use case for that is probably 5 or 10% of your overall project use case. Like, you have 10 features, and you think that adding this 11th feature would make it sound that hey, we have worked so much on it, right? I don't think it's about quantity. It's about solving a problem and doing it really well. Even if it has two features, that is fine, right? Like those two features should be integrated very well. Chat GPT is just a chat. right? Like it has exactly one feature when they started. It's a chat. Then they started adding other things with like other GPTs or voice, vision, other things, right? So do few things, but do them very well instead of doing 10 things and half baked solutions on all 10 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what Pranay mentioned. I remember I was in a product competition sometime back, and then this was a couple of years back. And then we had an idea of what we want to solve. And since we are all problem solvers, engineers, we will come up with this. Hey, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this. But ultimately, what mattered was, and then we had to like skim off all these other extra things, was we'll solve the core problem, and then we'll add anything that is next higher priority feature on top of that. So you, like for example, we'll add authentic login, we'll add push notifications, all of those things, and holistically may or may not matter. What this, the actual core of the problem matters. So if you spend time in adding all of those things, it may or may not carry that much weightage.
I think Pranay and Sriram has mentioned what should you add. I will tell you what mistake you should avoid. Okay, so when you are creating Git repo, first mistake people make is they are not populating README, or they are just using the template README. Okay, so when you are sharing it with someone, it should be README should tell everything. Okay, so don't keep that as a last step. Keep it as first step, like just list down what thing you are doing and all, and update readme. Okay, don't just copy project from anywhere and use. That's another like sure no. Okay, so yeah, use your own code, own thinking. Okay, we will judge it by your business logic or how you have solved that problem. We will also check that it is not copied from somewhere else. Okay, so yeah, just avoid doing that.
Okay, that's a good point as well. Okay, so what one should be focused on presentation, like front end side or the functionalities or the working or it all back end stuff while creating projects? In short, to impress you, what they should do.
I think front end, back end, or something that's depend on their project statement. Okay, if they are building some tool which they need to be run on command line, then there is no front end or nothing. Okay, but make it a polished version. Okay, even if you are using command line, okay, command line only, there should be enough option. There should be option for help. There should be option to people to know that how the tool is working and all. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so everything depends on your problem statement. It could be only front end, only back end, or this is you can define that, but it should be working and it should be helping someone.
To add to that, there are two places where you have opportunity to showcase. One is the presentation that you will do, but another which Tushar has been pointing you towards is your GitHub README file. Add as much details as you want about your architecture, your complexities, challenges in your GitHub file. We will go and read it, right? So it's not something that is going waste. So your GitHub file, the README can act as your high level architecture diagram design dog, and then your presentation, whatever time you will get, use that to talk about your problem statement, how you're solving it, show that you're solving it, because I don't think it is possible for you to show all the complications of your backend integration in a presentation. It will get boring. So presentation should be focused on mostly the utility of your work, like and how to use it, how it is working, and your GitHub can act as your technical place where you can add as much technical details as you want. Put a system diagram. I've never seen so far in a hackathon anyone has put like an architecture diagram saying that okay, this is my backend. These are like the services that we are doing. This is like the database. These are the challenges and stuff like that. So use all the opportunities that you have.
There is one question from Sachin Gupta. He's asking, like, do you think social good problem statements also have a business model?
I think yes. I saw one very interesting social good thing very recently. So what they were doing, they were trying to solve the problem of buying and selling plastic, right, for or any sort of recycling material, but they were doing it on blockchain. So they were using a smart contract and Ethereum based system to uh, facilitate the transaction. Uh, and it was, think of it as an e-commerce website for selling and buying recycled material. So the buyers would be mostly these recycling centers. The sellers would be mostly uh, individuals, and other way around as well. So it's kind of trying to solve a problem of importance, which is pollution, and like how you support recycling. But then it has a clear commercial angle to it, where like they will charge a commission to uh, enable buying and selling, and how they were using blockchain and everything for transparency, smart contracts, and other stuff, right? So those were more technical details, but the core of the thing was that it was a specialized e-commerce place trying to do something good, but at the same time making money.
Yeah, that means it has a potential to be a business model. And also one question from Nikhil: do we have to do a presentation for our project with panel members? Most probably no, because the projects is a lot, and doing with panel members will cost a lot of time. So most probably we'll pick top five, yeah, top 10 teams. Then we can do a panel thing. Yeah, most probably no. One question is from Aladdin. What should one be focused on the presentation, like front end side or the functionalities or the working?
Uh, I think it
You
has
have asked
been
this
done
question.
right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This question is out of the topic. As Pranay and Shriram both work at Airbnb that created Lottie, what is the feature of Lottie? Is there something more efficient than Lottie, which you can folks use at Airbnb, which is not public yet?
I don't think we would like to answer that question, but I'll just say it's an open source project, right? Anyone can take it and do whatever they want with it. There are companies like Lodifiles who have spun as a for-profit company who is making things better and building tooling on top of it. And if you look at it, right, like I really liked what Lottie Files was doing, right? Like they took a existing problem, which was okay, Lottie is there. How do we make it super easy for designers to create this, share these files, put the enterprise touch, similar to what Figma does for images or like design. Lottie Files was trying to do for motion-based design. So uh, it's a good thing for hackathon as well, right? Like you took an existing thing that is there and put a commercial angle on top of it, provided some additional ability, right? It's not just wrapping a lottery into a container and saying selling it as a service. They are really in fact, if I remember correctly, lottery files started as just a marketplace, or like a place to sell lottie files, like actual lottie files created by designers, and then they moved into more platform stuff, building tooling and everything else. So uh, definitely lottie is used heavily, and but it's not an Airbnb project anymore. It's an open source project, and yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah, Sachin Gupta asked again, what if you are doing something for disability people? How you can make a business model out there?
Okay, I would like to answer this. Okay, so we have seen one wonderful case where accessibility thing come live as a project. Okay, so the swipe keyboard which we are using nowadays, like most of the people are using swipe keyboard, which was built actually for Stephen Hawkins. Okay, because he was unable to speak and type, but he is able to move his head. Okay, so like swipe keyboard was built for him to facilitate him to speak. Okay, because he is just typing and it is converting to like speed. So like anything like accessibility, like everyone is thinking accessibility as thing which we are adding later. But if we think accessibility first, it could be very helpful and it could be a very good business use case or business product.
I can also answer about that question. Billing for accessibility is pretty good. If you want to solve a business angle towards it, like I think one gap that I see in general, at least on the mobile development, is testing for accessibility is all manual. You need to turn on talk back, you need to understand the elements, traverse through the elements over the tree and understand if it's like displaying properly or not. Automating, if you have a product that can automate all of that, could benefit a lot. And maybe not only automate, build integrated in the CI process, that can benefit even more. It will catch issues early in the development. But that's just an example.
Outside India, it's a big business. In US, it's legally required for companies to have access, like build products which supports accessibility. It's a huge, like billions of dollars of revenue in market. It's people get like company get sued all the time if their product is not accessible. So uh, you don't necessarily need to bound yourself for market in India. It's global market, and then again depends on what kind of problem that you're solving. There are angles to accessibility that is not related to actually like building a vision or something. It's more on the developer side, like how do you enable people to make their product accessible. So you're building like a tool. It's still doing a social good, but like it's a different way in approaching the same problem.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, one question from my side is, like, how can hackathon participant, to leverage the projects they made for job and for their careers if they are looking? Is it a good idea to submit their project in their resume that they build in during the hackathon?
Yeah, I think for student, I am using this phrase much often that it is hard to get job without experience, and it is hard to get experience without job. Okay, so this is something which you can show someone. Okay, when you are going, like when you are applying for job, it could be a very good use case to like someone who is selecting you or as an intern or as a first job that you have done such an amazing thing. Okay, so if you see those who have worked on hard project definition or those who have worked on hard problem, they are getting selected in campus placement stage only. So this will serve you to get your first job. So it is very useful.
Uh, I'll give you my experience. I back in days I used to build apps, and you can always publish the apps as part of your hackathon on Google Play. Get people to actually use it, and then if it's something interesting and people love it, that puts a lot of impact on your resume. You can say, "Hey, I built this app with like 100,000 users, 5 star on Google Play." Similarly for web apps as well, you deploy it somewhere and put like some sort of analytics and say that, oh, I have 100,000 people visiting my website every day or every month. So everything has an impact. People also look at your your GitHub repository. So even if you're not able to commercialize it, you can still take advantage of deploying it. Another angle that I believe personally, and this based on my experience, is that once you deploy things and you start promoting it, you also get to learn other side of development. Development is not just coding. You also need to understand customer problem, talk with your customers or your users, see how they are using the product, and then try to like if they have existing problems, try to solve them. So once you start deploying your projects into wild and start getting even like one customer or one user, that will give you a very different perspective, and that will help you grow as an overall engineer in your career as well.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just ask briefly one quick point. just resonating what Tushar and Pranay mentioned is build apps, put it in the Play Store, etc., etc. Maybe right after that also, I would say if you are looking for job, start writing, maintaining a blog post. Again, put yourself out there. And how you participated in this hackathon, and this is how you build so and so, what technologies you used. Then you can go in any direction that you want. So I would say the definitely most very useful to participate in the hackathon. It will just put your resume in a much more star limelight.
I agree, totally agree. That blog part is, which I sincerely follow. I would love to follow. Like the reason the same reason I wrote blogs, because I want to make my journey, to record it so that I can show to the people as a proof of work
Yes.
that what I'm doing. Yeah. One question is from Angad. What strategies do you recommend for resolving technical disagreements within a team? Maybe designing tech stack.
I think I use one technique which is like data driven. Okay, so whenever you have conflict, even in tech or in life, okay, you just want like make a note of what thing you want out of it. Okay, so suppose you are looking for something like I will discuss it in technical way. So you are comparing two software or two libraries. Okay, just list down feature which is required in your use case, like mention price of the software, size of the software, and everything, and then compare two. Okay, and rank it through number, like this is 10 on 10, this is 7 on 10. Okay, and then you will get number. Okay, this is number on which everyone will agree because it is actually data driven. So you can use this for resolve any conflict, be it like technical or even life problem.
To add to that, I think again it's just a tool to solve the problem. So focus on problem. Also, don't choose something that half of your team is uncomfortable in using or doesn't even know how to use it. Right? Like uh, hackathon is not like it is a good opportunity to learn new things, of course. So if your team agrees, you should always strive for that. But then if there is some technology that only you know and other people are not comfortable with, it will inherently slow you down and it will put you in a disadvantaged position. There is no one who is like, I don't think we are judging saying that, oh, this guy is using MongoDB versus, oh, this is using some fancy new SQL solution, or oh, you are using smart contracts versus someone else is just doing in normal plain old Java world, right? I don't think that's any judging criteria. As long as it the tool helps you solve the problem that you have in mind, go for that. And like also look for other people, because you are a team, so you have to be a team player. And the tools are just, today some technology exists, tomorrow something better will come. So why just haggle on something?
Okay, one very important question Muse asked. He asked, like, what do you guys think is the impact of open source software upon hackathons in India, especially? I mean, overall open source development. How do you think, like, India as a country, growing?
Do you
Because
mean
patenting software is not very illegal in India, and many of the people like they call the project as their own. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think India, at least for the recent years, for the past recent years, I've seen a lot of open source projects being developed from folks from India, at least on the mobile development space, which I think the Western countries are probably a little more ahead because they were the ones who started this model. The big tech companies realized that hey, we cannot build this product alone. It's a good model to open source this and can get contributions because we have good developers all over the world. That is a really good that is the reason loyalty, bunch of open source projects came into existence anyways, right? In Cash App is one company that has open sourced a lot of Android libraries. So And then I think it- open sourcing came as over here is basically like it came as like a star to their own profiles. Oh, hey, is this one of the more maintenance of React, um, like library itself, core maintenance, etc., right? So that became like it became an opportunity for developers to be more involved in that kind of scenarios as well. And then I've seen folks from India, like South Asian countries, also started noticing that and started slowly adapting that culture. And at least in the past couple of years, I'm noticing it. Um, and like if you build a like project that is so good that can be open sourced as part of hackathon, that would be amazing. And and a fun fact is Lotties was built out of hackathon itself. So that so it is public, it is like publicly known fact. But I'm just saying. And there are also other famous apps. There's something called as a Life 360 that is also built out as part of hackathon. Anyways, not digressing over, I'm seeing a lot of impact, and then hopefully see a little more impact in the coming years.
Also, if the worry is that someone can take an open source project and submit it for hackathon saying they built it, we will find it out. So don't worry about that. Like we can see the it shouldn't. So one thing is that it's 3 days hackathon, right? From the project itself, we can determine that how much effort. Like if it is too polished, like looks like hundreds and thousands of line of code, only one commit on the GitHub, we will know that it is copied. We can always search. We can look at the code and tell that okay, like how good the code is and whether it is possible for someone to write it in 3 days or not. So, and then let's say even after everything, someone filters out and still able to win. End of the day, uh, it is what it is, right? Like we are humans, so we can make mistakes. So if that happens, you can always reach out to the organizers and tell them about it. But I think don't worry too much about what other people are doing. In life there are people who will always try to game systems. You can either choose to become one, or you just like you just be you and try to work hard and focus on things that matters to you.
That's correct. That's so much correct. I mean, for the open source in India, there is a community called FOSS, basically United by FOSS. Like they promote free and open source development a lot, and I'm also part of the team. Yeah, in India, it's increasing. The awareness is increasing about the open source and like how you can also leverage it. People just think open source means free. It's not. Yeah, that's what people are changing the views.
Also, if you look at industry where it is going, look at Amazon, right? Amazon has took a lot of open source projects and put a commercial angle to it, enterprise angle to it, deployed it, offered as a service, right? Contributed back to the open source project as well, or like folk did created their own. So those are like fact of like those are reality, right? So you could like Lottie, take Lottie as an example, right? Like someone took Lottie, which was open source, and commercialized it. I don't see anything wrong in that, as long as you are uh, like focusing on the contract. Whether it's India or not, it doesn't matter. If you get too commercially successful, you are still on hook legally, and people can still try to like pin you down if you are trying to use something illegal, even in India, right? Like patents are not there, but licenses are still enforceable in all the countries.
That's right. One interesting question is, what if you were participating in this hackathon? What type of project would you work on?
Ooh, that's a good question.
If we answer that, we are giving away a lot of stuff.
Makes sense.
Uh, yeah.
If I was a participant, I listened to what Tisha, Pranay, and myself have mentioned. Like in a good working prototype, make sure all the GitHub repo is really good, and then like the problem is clearly articulated. That is all. I'll make sure that is my gold standard to start with. I'm not going to answer anything more than that. Maybe other judges can pitch in.
I'll also be not discouraged by using something that is already there and building a better version out of it. So don't think that like one person said that there was a similar idea called scrap daddy or something in Shark Tank. Look at that, right? Like it's something that people took, scrap uncle, right? And someone took it and then did their own take on it, and then created a totally new product. For every Swiggy there is a Zomato, for every Flipkart there is an Amazon, right? So uh, it doesn't need to be like totally new. You can take an existing problem that someone is doing okayish job in it and put a better uh, angle to it, throw some AI, sprinkle it, and then, but not just for the sake of it. See how it can really help solve that problem. And that's what I'm gonna do if I'm gonna participate. I wish.
Yes. Okay. One question from Alfia. She asked, "How would teams prioritize between implementing features and debugging issues during the hackathon? As hackathons have time constraint."
Okay, I can answer that. So when you are prioritizing feature versus debugging issues, okay, so don't start building new feature if you're like you have any tech debts. Okay, something is not working and you know it is not working. If you don't solve it, then in next phase you will have two problem to solve. Okay, one like pending feature and one you are actually maintaining. So when you are doing prioritizing fixing the issues, okay, and one thing, okay, so if you think there is some issue in your project, okay, XYZ feature is listed but not working, so make that note in readme, okay, because when you hide it, okay, it's your problem, but when you display it that this feature is not working, it becomes our problem. Then we cannot come up to you saying that okay, this is not working, because you already have listed that this is breaking on this edge case. Okay, so do that like in 3 days you will be focus on building some feature only. You don't add like too many features, and yeah, debug everything and try to make it less buggy. Okay, no software is like zero bug or bug free, but try to make it like less buggy.
Okay, so both of the judges, Pranay and Sriram, any more thoughts on that?
No, what Tushar said.
I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
Uh,
Next question is how big the project should be for the hackathon.
I don't think there is a scale on like big or small. Uh, like I said earlier, if it's just a wrapper over ChatGPT, like it is what it is. Submit it. It's okay, and you'll be judged like that compared to someone who has built a Flipkart, right? It like depending on your team strengths, your team size, the problem you're solving, just focus on more some core features of your product. Showcase that. I don't think, at least I'm not looking at like, oh, 100,000 lines code versus 20,000 lines of code, or like uh, anything like scale, uh, or like deployment. It's ultimately it's a hackathon, right? So we understand everything that is done, the shortcuts we have to take for things to work. So in my mind, I don't see size as any of has any impact on the way I'm going to look at the projects.
Correct. Same view. The project shouldn't be big or small. It should have an impact. That's what matters. Okay, Muis has asked. I also wanted to ask, why do you think the culture is moving from a learning mindset to earning mindset? And why are people so obsessed over DSA or system design just for the sake of the pay? Uh,
What was the
So
second?
anyone want to answer that?
DS? DS? DS part of it.
Data structure and algorithm. I
Yeah.
think
Algorithm.
he's talking about like how people are going through all these academies just to crack interviews and get more money. I think it's outside the discussion of the hackathon and just defeats the purpose. Uh, it's a very subjective topic on money versus learning. You ask any academia that question, and they will have a lot of opinions on this, right? Like people who go in fundamental research in colleges doing PhDs, ask a college professor on like why they chose to be a professor rather than going to a multinational and working for it. It's like uh, it's personal choices for people on like what they like to do. Uh, and yeah, that's all I can say on this topic.
But actually, I
Okay,
also
so
have a
I
question.
think,
Like,
okay,
yeah, it's a personal question. Like,
sorry, sorry.
I've actually, I also see many of my friends from tier one colleges. They prefer DSA over, skills. What we say, like development skill. So, what do you think? Like, we should focus more on DSA just to crack the interviews and just land a job and then learn development. And what if I, as myself, good with development but not with DSA? Will I survive?
And so I'll give you some like, my thoughts. I think companies are also, there are two sets of companies. At least the way I'm seeing is there are some companies who are still focused on data structures and algorithms for their interviews, because and the reason why they're doing it is they think that this is a common scale for them to judge on. They'll think, hey, the universities have already went through these courses, we can use that in like judging a particular candidate. But the problem is they just get hung up on that, like they go really difficult into that, like lead code hard, like something that you'll never solve in a workplace unless you are actually building some, I don't know, some red tree or whatever sky type of solution in your company, which will never happen. um, and there are other set of companies which are starting to understand this and having interviews based out of day-to-day like skills, more like hey, can you build this app, do you want to pair program with me, how do you work with a designer, things like that based on the job profile. um, but I guess and then from the academy point of view, not everyone is looking for development. Some people like go towards the research side. For them, the data structures and algorithms is really important, and they want to be focused more on that. So that's where my thoughts lie.
Just to add to that, it depends on what kind of developer you want to become. If your aim, again, it's your personal situation, you know better. If your aim is to land a job, do whatever it takes to land a job, right? If it requires to go through a boot camp for DS algorithm, do it. It's fine. There's no right and wrong. It's not like a zero or one answer for this. Ultimately, you will have to learn programming to succeed in your career ladder. You can always get through the door, but how will you survive if you don't know how to build something, right? You'll be thrown on a project, you'll be asked for that. If a company is paying you, let's say 30 lakhs, 20 lakhs, they would expect you to perform on that level. So sooner or later, if you can't do it, they will fire you, right? Or you will be under tremendous pressure, or they will never promote you, right? So it's up to you, right? I don't think that there is un- unfortunately it is the reality of hiring, where like there is no easy way for companies to judge on candidate skills, so they fall back to using standard DS algorithm design system questions. And then there are industries that have now spun up that teaches you, it's on the similar domain as like cracking an IIT, right? Like it was supposed to be like based on your knowledge, what you understand in school, how you do it. Then there was industry that spun up teaching how to crack the IIT or like CAT or any other exam, right? GMAT. So where there is a demand, there will be a supply of people doing it. But I don't think like, unless like what you said, right? Like if you just focus on one thing, you can get into the door, but then you need to switch gear, learn actually how to do things and then fix it. I actually did my engineering in electrical engineering, and I did my master's in computer science. So it's not, it has not, like your engineering teaches you how to solve problem, but there is always a learning opportunity for you to learn outside, right? So
Correct. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and some of the beginners are asking me that question continuously, like what they should start. Like in my college, the first year students are constantly asking me, as a beginner, what they should learn to survive in this field.
I think basic of computer science and like how operating system work, how network request transfer is something like what people are not focusing on nowadays much, but they should focus on the basic of internet, basic of infrastructure and all. That will help them in long term. How request transfer from one machine to another machine, how it transfer. How it resolves requests and all, these are basic things. Okay, so everyone should know that. Like people currently, I have seen in front end, lot of people know React, but they don't know JavaScript. Okay, so like the base is JavaScript, they should learn JavaScript. I have seen people who just know jQuery, and then one jQuery faded out, they struggle. Okay, so I think you should focus on basic thing like JavaScript so that you can survive in jQuery era to React era, Next.js era, and the era which is coming. Okay, so like base keep your base strong, and in our industry we need to learn every day. So this is must requirement for us. Everyone should learn every day. This is requirement.
Okay, so basically it starts with the core concept and then adapt new technologies. Okay. And one more question which Anas has missed. What's one technical skill or tool you think every hackathon participant should learn or know about it?
One underrated skill I feel every developer should have, doesn't matter it's in a hackathon, is debugging. Debugging, and debugging always comes with practice, frustration, a lot of agony, and that's how unfortunately you will learn. Some are really good at it, they know exactly what to search, but these days AI tools are helping you out with debugging as well. So I would say that is one technical skill, because most of the times people know how to, will figure out how to code, how to understand the programming patterns and things like that, but you are facing some errors, exceptions, etc. Debugging and digging through the problem is something that you cannot teach, and that is something that you can figure it out yourself. You have to develop on your own.
I would also like to add, like uh, if something is not working, take a break. I think that's the best advice. Like go for a walk, uh, go for a coffee break, tea break, so that like it will come to you, right? Like you need to know when to like stop, relax your mind, and then go back to, like, it's a non-technical skill, but it's very hard to come by. Like you need to really be aware of your surroundings to know that, okay, like, hey, I'm not able to do it. Another thing is, and I do this personally, I'm very like, I'm unshameful, right? Like I don't mind asking people for help. I'll just go and cold email people that, hey, like, I want this, I'm a student, or like, play with your strength and then just ask for help. Nobody, I have never seen in my life that anyone got penalized, except probably in your school or college, about asking for help with someone about some problem that you're facing. So it's a big community of developers. Ask for help. Find any platform that you can, and ask for help on, like, hey, I'm stuck here, like, how do I do it?
Yeah. Uh, One last question we're gonna take. Do you look at code structure and at an organization during the evaluation, or is the focus more on functionality and output?
I think first I will look at functionality and output. Okay, how things is there. Then the code structure and everything is secondary. But suppose if you are like there is a tiebreaker. Okay, for position number one. Then we will compare it and then we will check, okay, functionality is better in both, but code structure is better in this project. Then, like, the more weightage will go to that. Okay, so yeah, first output, how it works, how useful it is, and all, and then, but yeah, structure should be there. So I think you should like focus on structure too. Like, don't add messy code which people cannot use or which is not readable. Because if it is not readable, then like people might not understand it or will have doubt or question around it.
And what about you all, Pranay and Sriram?
I think what Tushar said makes sense too.
Yeah, I think I agree with Tushar. Maybe one or two points is like when you're like developing, just don't type like val a b. You don't use such kind of like those are some basic things that we don't, we want you to, because you're going, just use normal variables. And then like you're, we don't expect like every function will have some kind of documentation around it. Like we at this stage probably not. In general, there are tools where you can GitLab link your GitHub repo, and it will give the quality of your GitHub profile, like for the project. And you can, like as a last step, you can look into that. I address the top 3 or 5 things at the very minimum, and submit. That's the only thing that I'd like to add.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing your insights and expertise today. We hope everyone finds something valuable and gain some great takeaways. And I believe you all will apply some some takeaways from this in your projects. And yes, of course, everyone, please remember this. This is just the beginning. And if you have stuck in your project, just be calm and think. That's the best thing you can do. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
that's the best advice I have taken from Pranay. Actually, I also implement that. I took a break when I get stuck at any point.
Yeah. Good luck, everyone, for the rest of the hackathon. And keep building, keep pushing. Thank you again for the judges. Thank you for your time. All the best, everyone.
Best of luck
Thank
for
Bye.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.